Hey everybody, what's going on? Bahroo here with some more Borderlands, the pre-sequel news. And today, as you may not be aware, we got some Claptrap gameplay that not allowed to use. So, let's take a look at the skill tree instead. Unfortunately, it is all IG and stuff, but let's just go ahead and jump into Claptrap's first skill tree. We got most of the skills out of it. I think we're only missing one, but we do get to take a look at the capstone. And this skill tree is I Love You Guys, which is more focused on a cooperative, it's more of a co-op skill tree, but it has a lot of things for the single player aspect as well. So let's just jump into the first skill here that you see, which is Best Buds for Life. Whenever you're revived or you revive someone, you and your buddy gain health regeneration and damage resistance for a short time. This also is going to extend your fight for your lifetime and increase your gun damage while you're down. Now, if we look at the actual stats of this, the downtime 25%, which is pretty awesome, and the down gun damage is 25%, which is alright. Now, the health regen thing is a good change because a lot of problems that some classes had in Borderlands 2 was that they couldn't regen health coming out of that fight for their life state and just went right back down into it because they couldn't get above health gate. So regenerating maximum health every second is a good thing, as well as the extra damage resistance. Now the question is damage resistance going to be flat like it is in Borderlands 1, or if it's going to be if it's going to have really bad diminishing returns like it does in Borderlands 2. We'll have to see how this all works out, but overall, good very first tier skill. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Now for our next tier 1 skill, we've got Maniacal Laughter, which has a flat increased status effect chance, as well as a very interesting combination with status effects and health regeneration. So the way Maniacal Laughter is going to work is whenever you deal status effect damage, whether that's your corrode, your fire, or any status effect damage that you deal, is going to give you a stack of Maniacal Laughter. You and all of your teammates are going to gain health regeneration for each stack of Maniacal Laughter. The lower your health, the greater the health regeneration. So, if you're typically with Borderlands 2, if you're under 20%, you'll typically get the full effect. And each stack lasts a few seconds, so you're going to need to keep putting dots on all sorts of enemies. Now let's take a look at what this does with 5 out of 5 in the skill. Obviously, as we see in this class mod, you're going to be able to go higher than that, but let's just take a look at what a 5 out of 5 does. So the status effect chance is about 20%, which is nice. But the best part is it regenerates up to 0.15% of your maximum health per stack per second. Now for those who are not aware, if you get 200 stacks with that much, you're regenerating 30% of your maximum health every second for everybody on the team. That is an amazing boost, and it's just, you won't even need Moxie weapons if that is what we're going to be dealing with in the pre-sequel. Claptrap is going to be an absolute healing machine. He's going to be able to keep everybody topped off at all times as long as he keeps putting those status effects on a bunch of enemies. And if raid bosses don't just wash off status effects, I honestly think you're going to want a Claptrap in all of your groups because he just makes it so nobody is going to die. You're going to be able to constantly be getting above that health gate, which is a really good cooperative skill, and I want to see this work. And the fact that this is a tier 1 skill, this is honestly probably the very first thing that you are going to want to pick up as soon as you start playing Claptrap, because the benefit from it is just crazy. And his tree just gets better and better as we go down it. So why don't we just go ahead and move into the next skill, Maniacal Laughter. Amazing co-op skill. Just like his entire tree is just mind-boggling on how good it is. And Claptrap made being the main character that I play, which I never thought I would say that, but there's nothing that I hate about him so far outside of his voice. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the next skill that we have here. So for our next skill, we have All Things Are Awesome. Increases your fire rate, your weapon swap speed, and your maximum health. As a bonus, you're also going to get increases for all of those for every other teammate in your game. Being a part of the team is great. So let's just go ahead and take a look at what it does at base. So 3% fire rate, 3% swap speed, and 5% maximum health. And that's what you're going to get base with just yourself times 5, obviously, or times however many skill points you put in the tree. And then you're going to have an additional 1% fire rate, 1% swap speed, and 2% maximum health for each teammate. Now, it kind of sucks for solo players about this whole skill. It's really kind of lackluster. I mean, it'll be good. Actually, no, I take that back. It'll be good. The extra 25% maximum health is definitely nothing bad to shake a stick at. Plus, the extra fire rate is always good. The swap speed is kind of irrelevant, though. But overall, the skill's not bad for solo players. However, if we take this into a cooperative type environment, and let's say we take 4 claptraps in the same group with everyone being spec'd, let's say 5 out of 5 into All Things Are Awesome. You know, you are going to be looking at about, I would say, I believe it would be somewhere around 55% extra maximum health for each claptrap. In addition, 30% fire rate. That's just, it's not even like a kill skill. You just have that passively. Plus whatever the weapon speed, everybody. Weapon speed. You know, the weapon swap speed ends up being. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. And the more I think about it, especially once we get to the capstone, the more I think about it, I feel like 4 claptraps has the best synergy out of everything in the game from what we have seen so far. Because these skills are just sort of a passive thing. It doesn't say every teammate that's a different class. It just says every teammate. So you may be able to just bring 4 claptraps together and annihilate literally everything. Maybe this is why, you know, Claptrap thinks that he's going to be killed in Borderlands 2. Because he's probably the best character, which I never thought was going to happen, but, you know, yeah. Anyway, why don't we go ahead and move on to our next skill here, which actually improves his action skill, which is an interesting way of doing it, but we'll get into that when we look at the skill here. Alright, so for our first sort of game changer ability that we have, it's called Kick Him While He's Down. While in Fight for Your Life, you draw aggro from nearby enemies, which is an amazing skill, by the way. I don't know why it's taken this long for us to get an ability like this that draws aggro to a person that can't take any more damage. It is amazing. So you go down, you are now taking all of the damage. This actually can potentially be a great thing, at the same time be awful. The reason for it would be great is because you've got basically everyone on you. All of your other teammates can just start killing the enemies, and they don't really have to worry about being shot at, which is a good thing. The downside is everything is going to be shooting at you. They're going to have a hard time reviving you, so you may have to, in a cooperative setting, you may have to basically be on your own for trying to get yourself up, because if the enemies that are fighting you are just knocking your teammates all around, they're not going to be able to get you out of your fight for your life state. Next, we have, this unlocks the action package, Clap in the Box. Now, what Clap in the Box is going to do is it's going to turn you basically into a walking bomb that's going to go off after about 4 seconds. The damage for what we saw in the gameplay is actually good. This is not going to be a bad action package. In fact, most of the action packages... I'm sorry, I am butchering all of my words today. All of the action packages that we've seen from Claptrap do not suffer from level scaling. Everything does either good damage or great damage. That's how it's been. The Digistruct bomb that we saw was almost one-shotting badasses in cooperative play, which is a good thing to see, because You would hate to basically turn yourself into a walking bomb. Also, you're vulnerable while you're doing this, obviously. You are a walking bomb. You can't shoot. You just go up to the enemy. You explode. You would hate for that to just cause basically just a free kill me because it doesn't do anything. So it's good to see that the damage is scaled correctly and all of that. And yeah, that's really all we can say about this skill. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so moving on to the next skill, we have You're Going to Love Me, which killing enemies is going to create a friendship nova centered on the enemy, healing your friends, which, as if Maniacal Laughter wasn't already covering all of your healing needs, now you have more. Now you're going to have even more healing, which when you kill an enemy, it can heal you up to 50% of your maximum health, which is great. It also unlocks a new action package called Gun Wizard. Insert Gothalion Wizard here. But anyway, Gun Wizard, you and your allies gain drastically increased fire rate and reload speed. And from the gameplay that we saw of this, it is so ridiculous that you actually fire Jacob's weaponry, which is, one shot per trigger pull. You actually fire Jacob's weaponry almost 3 times. It's that is how ridiculous of a fire rate increase that you get, that you could fire Jacob's more times with a single trigger pull. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I love it. Another great action package that you are going to want to have. Nothing really more to say about this, so let's just keep moving through here, because this commentary, I have now realized, is really long, and I do apologize, but thank you all for watching. Anyway, let's continue on. And for your next ability, you're going to have It's a Trap card. When your shield becomes depleted after a full shield, you release a Mega Nova centered around yourself, and it heals you and your friends and hurts enemies. Like I said, as if there wasn't enough healing already, you now have even more. I'm not entirely sure why he has so much healing, but I'm not going to complain. So anyway, he's going to create this sort of Nova shield, or this Nova around him that heals him, and it'll heal all of his allies. So with this kind of a skill, I'm thinking that maybe a very fast, low-capacity shield is going to be what Claptrap is going to want to run around with. Like, let's say you've got a really good, under 1 second delay shield that you've got on Claptrap, and you might actually use on purpose a lower capacity or a low-leveled version of it, just so that way it goes down faster, and you could just keep spamming Novas over and over and over again. He's going to become Hyperius. Claptrap is Hyperius. I'm just going to call that now. Claptrap is Hyperius. But anyway, you're going to be able to do these Novas over and over and over again, because they're going to regenerate in just a second, and I can only imagine Claptrap with a crack sash. I'm just gonna say that now. Claptrap with like a really low level crack sash, constantly novaing his enemies and his friends to get them health and to kill enemies. It's gonna be great. I want to see this happen. I want to actually see a reason to use lower level gear, because you will constantly be doing novas. It's gonna be good. Anyway, not really much to say about this one, so let's just go ahead and keep going through this skill tree here. So, for our next skill, we just talked about having a low recharge shield. How about we get some wax off, wax on to go along with it? This is going to increase your shield capacity, which, like I said, I would actually use a lower level shield. It's going to increase your recharge rate and lower your recharge delay. This has perfect synergy with the skill that we just talked about. There's really not much more to say about it other than it's going to make whatever that build is better. That's really it. It's just going to make the build better to go around with the Nova Bro spec. That's actually what, when we actually make this, it's going to be the Nova Bro spec. Let's just be honest. It's just going to be the Nova Bro. Anyway, not really much to say about this. It's just generic shield capacity on all that good stuff. So let's move on to the other side. And for the other side of this little skill tree here, we have Pain Simulator is Painful, which just increases your maximum health and grants you a small amount of damage reduction, which is just going to be passive, which it's not much to say. It has good synergy. It's going to increase your maximum health, and you're going to be healing a lot, and it's going to give you damage reduction, so you lose your health, You don't lose your health as fast. And because you're going to be using a low-level shield, you won't have to worry too much about, you know, the damage reduction messing with the whole spec. So just some nice damage reduction, which again, we don't know if it's going to be flat, which now that I see this skill, I highly doubt. But if it did, Claptrap going to be broken on a new level. Anyway, let's just keep going through the skill tree here, because these are just basic skills anyway. Which is kind of funny that the basic skills are all the way at the bottom, but at the very beginning of the skill tree is all the advanced shit. But anyway, moving on with the skill tree, we have another extremely basic skill, which, considering this is right before the capstone, is kind of weird. But organized guns are happy. Increase your magazine size for all weapon types for you and your buddies. Yeah. Just gonna move on to the next skill here. And for the other side, we have kick 'em while he's up, which is perfect synergy with kick 'em while he's down. When you have kick 'em while he's down, you've got 20% gun damage, and then you have kick 'em while he's up. Whenever you get a second wind, your gun damage, your melee damage, and your critical hit damage are going to be increased by 25% as soon as you get a kill, which is great synergy with the fact that, for those who are not aware, whenever you get a second wind, it doesn't tell you, but every character in the game, whenever you get a second wind, you get 50% gun damage for about 20 seconds whenever you get a second wind. And that's not something you have to spec into. You just have that passively. So this is going to have great synergy with that. You know, you get a second wind, even more damage. You're going to have 75% damage, and with an additional 25% gun damage. Now, we've talked about all the things in the skill tree, so why don't we finally take a look at this capstone? And now we have the capstone here. High five, guys! This is the skill that I think is going to be absolutely broken as hell, as a good thing, if we end up being able to have 4 claptraps in a game with this skill. So anyway, what you're going to be doing is you're going to hold your melee button to request a high five. If your friend gives you a high five, you and all of your teammates get gun damage, fire rate, and health regeneration. And that fire rate is 50%. 50% for everybody. Keep in mind, from the 30% from earlier, if we had 4 claptraps in a group, that we would have like 30% from that. So we would have a total of 80% fire rate with 4 claptraps and 1 person does a high five. If everybody does a high five and it stacks, we can have 230% fire rate for 30 seconds, which is just crazy. And then you've got gun damage and you've got health regeneration for everybody. Now, people are probably say, well, what if you're in solo and you don't have friends? Well, that's okay, because if they leave you hanging, or you're in solo and no one can give you a high five, you still get the gun damage, health regeneration for 30 seconds, because screw you guys. Because screw you guys. You still get all the perks of the capstone, even if you don't have it, which is a great way to implement co-op skills. Even if you're not in co-op, you can still get a very good effect out of it. So this has pretty much been the entire I love you guys skill tree. I'm sorry my commentary has been extremely long. Like, holy hell, we're almost at like 20 minutes or something, or at this point, or 19 minutes at this point. So thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed this sort of in-depth breakdown and what I would like to see happen with these, all the different possibilities for builds and all that good stuff. So as always, guys, thank you for watching. Be sure to keep it here for more Borderlands the pre-sequel news, guides, and breakdowns like these. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button, help support me in what I do, and I will see you all in the next video. Later.